What I'm about to say is not a hyperbole. This was the hardest list I've done in probably like 5 years. Although we had quite a few bad films, like I mentioned in my top 10 worst films of 2023, I almost made this a top 15 list due to how the amount of contenders we had. But I persevered and I made 10 because I decided 10 would be good enough. I await the shitstorm that will be in the comment sections. I'm Mac from Mac Movie Reviews, and this is my top 10 best films of 2023. Let's get into it.
I like that.
What can I say? I thought Fast X was one of the best dumb films of the year. After my series retrospective leading up to the release of Fast X, which you probably should go check out, I remember my friends telling me how this film ends and how it sets up the supposed two-part finale films are now one-part finale film, and I knew from the description I had to watch this movie. Well, I'm not gonna say that Fast X is like the best or perfect film. It's just fun. Jason Momoa was awesome as Dante. He carried this film, and every scene he was in was just amazing. But I feel like the one aspect of the film that I feel works for it would be the action. The film does a good job of being entertaining. It's a fun summer action dumb movie. There are rarely any dull moments in it. Like I said before, Fast Texas is a great film. It's good enough to be a fun summer film, like I mentioned before. If you're a fan of the series, I definitely feel like Fast X, you'll probably get more enjoyment than the common moviegoer folk would get into it.
I like that.
It's about damn time that the Evil Dead franchise makes its way back thanks to 2023's Evil Dead Rise. I am really glad they decided to release this in theaters instead of Max. I feel that the film captures the spirit of the original film. The horror in the film is the biggest strength of it. Having the film take place in an apartment building gave it the best setting to create that claustrophobic feeling that both the original and the 2013 film had, with them taking place in the iconic cabin. I really enjoyed Lily Sullivan as Beth. She was a competent horror movie heroine and she had a very good character arc. And the supporting cast does a good job as well, especially the kids. This is a rare time where kids aren't that dumb making decisions in a horror movie. And lastly, I thought the visual effects were great. Barring some of the scenes that have some questionable looking CGI, I thought the scenes of gore were visually well done, and knowing that over 6,500 liters of fake blood was used makes it much more awesome to me.
I like that.
Thanks to the success of 2018's Searching, which was a great film by the way, we were blessed with a standalone sequel in Missing, and it's safe to say it manages to capture that same energy that Searching had. Storm Reed does a great job with her performance as June. She played the teenage stereotype character, or archetype character, very well. It wasn't an over-the-top performance, but it was grounded version of what would be plausible in reality. But I feel like the one aspect of Missing that I really enjoyed, and I haven't seen this on many other people's top 10 lists, is that it has great suspense. With this being a mystery film, the moments of tension and suspense will captivate you throughout its runtime. No pun intended, Missing will have you not wanting to miss a single minute of the film. Okay, I'll show myself out now. Thank you.
I like that.
Seeing how this was the best MCU project of 2023, I think it's perfect to put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on my top 10 list, no matter what other people may say. Never would I imagine that I would get emotional watching a film focus on a raccoon, but damn it, it happened. Volume 3 has a lot going for it. Great performances, an engaging plot, good dialogue, and fun action. But the one thing that makes a film great would be the heart behind it. So there's a lot of trouble going into this film because when James Gunn got fired, a lot of the cast and crew said they're not going to make the film without James Gunn, and Disney tried to move on from him and get someone else, but they ended up bringing him back. And I think it's just perfect because James Gunn has crafted these characters the way we've known them since 2014, almost 10 years. And it was good to have like this sort of ending for the characters to fit with their characters and kind of just move on into the new era of the MCU. We may never see this incarnation of the team before, but it's just good to say goodbye. And now seeing that James Gunn is going to be running DC, I don't think we'll ever get the Guardians that we know them ever again. So this was truly a farewell film, and that extra heart to it, that made it much more emotional. And I think that makes Volume 3 probably one of the best MCU projects we've gotten since No Way Home.
I like that.
Man, if this was the last film in the mainline series, what a way to go out. I absolutely love John Wick Chapter 4. It was going to take a lot to follow up 3, which I consider my favorite of the series, but Chapter 4 manages to continue the momentum and bring a new layer of just pure entertainment to the series. I think an underrated aspect of the film, besides the awesome action sequences and engaging story, it would be the cinematography. The cinematography was absolutely beautiful. One thing with the series is in the later films, they go internationally to different locations, and it just makes the set pieces look so much beautiful. And I feel like that's the same case with Chapter 4. The cinematography is just outstanding. The shot I love the most is the first stop where you go into Japan. You just see the peace lilies, and I think that was a awesome just way to set up this sort of conflict with John and kind of like a central theme for the movie. They use the cinematography a lot for that. And that alone makes me so excited to see what Chaz does with the Ghost of Tsushima film. That film is going to be beautifully shot. I cannot wait for that. But John Wick Chapter 4 was amazing.
I like that.
I didn't see this film on a lot of folks' lists, which surprised me because Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves was one of the under the radar good films of the year. It didn't do well at the box office, so that may have added to some people's factors to it, but it did well with both audiences and critics alike for good reason. What I said in my review of Dungeons and Dragons resonates with this. I feel like even if you did not see, or you're not even a fan, or don't even know the ins and outs of Dungeons and Dragons, it's still a fun film that serves as an adventure movie. I can say this is like Lord of the Rings meets Ocean 11. Yeah, let's go with that combo. I think what's the best part of this movie is that the comedy was good. The cast did a good job with its delivery and some improv. Like, I really feel like a lot of the people, like the cast, just kind of just bounced off and just had it. There were some scenes where it's just like, okay, that's kind of funny. And turns out behind the scenes, it was actually improvised. And I think Hugh Grant stole the show and had a lot of funny moments. I would definitely love to have a sequel or even like a spin-off of this story because I want to see these characters again. And that's the glory of D&D. You can plot these characters in any situation in the world and it can still make sense because it can be seen as an adventure. And, you know, I like Honor Among Thieves. It was a pretty good film.
I like that.
Okay, so Barbie was really close in cracking the top 3, but I had to go back and make sure I made the right call. I think it being in the top 5 is a lot better for my case. Barbie was a film I was not expecting to be what it was and how it pretty much impacted culture in the latter part of 2023. I'm still baffled by it. There's so many things about Barbie that I really liked. I like the idea of it incorporating elements of Barbie lore and physics while also doing the real world element in a film like this, which was pretty fun. I think Greta Gerwig was probably the best choice for director of this film. She had a vision and did it well. The cast did a good job of their roles. The fact that Margot Robbie didn't get nominated is dumb. Ryan Gosling was great as Ken, and the supporting cast was great as well. I also love the score of the music. I like Dance the Night Away by Dua Lipa. That was a good song with that. And it was just funny. There was a lot of funny moments in this film where I'm like, whoa, did that give me the laugh? Like, that's actually pretty good. I think with a lot of the comedy, it works because it's both meta and it's actually genuinely good writing. I don't think Barbie needs a sequel or anything like this. I think Barbie should just stay as its own little film. That's it.
I like that.
Fun fact, this is the first Martin Scorsese film I've seen in theaters, and it was damn worth it. I wanted to go into Killers of the Flower Moon blind and not read any of the articles or even the book that it's based on. I don't regret it. Even if the runtime can feel a little long, the film does a good job of capturing your attention throughout, making the runtime not even matter at the grand scheme of things. While the acting was great with standouts with De Niro, Gladstone, and DiCaprio, and I thought, like I mentioned before, the story being much engaging, one of the better aspects of the film would be its set design. They captured the aesthetic and feeling of the Midwest in the 20s. The crew did the research well to recapture that aesthetic. It is so good, it actually helps retain the viewer by way the setting is presented. And with Killer of the Flower Moon, it is a very compelling story. It actually makes you want to go out and read about what really happened. And I think that Scorsese has his shining achievements with this film. He does the Scorsese things that makes him Scorsese, and that makes Killers of the Flower Moon a tremendous film.
I like that.
I am the conjurer.
After the underperforming 2020 film Tenet came out and Nolan was done with Warner Brothers, he took his talents to Universal and decided to tackle the story of Robert J. Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. This is the film that came out the same day as Barbieheimer. I am not making this up. This is the timeline we were in. But all jokes aside, Oppenheimer is a tremendous film. The sheer magnitude of the way the story is presented is a definition of a cinematic experience. The acting, writing, visual effects, the score, the editing, it all works to make this film amazing. And the nuclear test scene is a perfect example of how to build anticipation in an audience, and I dare say the film got even better after dealing with the, quote, fallout of the test. It just works. But Oppenheimer isn't number 1.
I like that.
Now, before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Knock at the Cabin, Plane, Air, Cocaine Bear, Asteroid City, Saltburn, Gran Turismo, Bottoms, The Equalizer 3, Sisu, Megan, The Iron Claw, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
I like that.
Man, the way Across the Spider-Verse ended was such a tease, and we don't know for sure when the third film comes out definitely, so that makes it much more of a tease. But Across the Spider-Verse took the elements and made the first film great and amplified it to make this film even better. The animation, once again, is the strongest part of the film. So many unique styles that clash together and make some great set pieces. The story was compelling with great voice acting from the cast, with the standout being Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, who gets more development in this film than she did in the last one, and makes me really excited for her spin-off movie. Oscar Isaac turning a great performance as Miguel O'Hara, and Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk was definitely the standout of the film. This man is just oozes charisma of this character. And Shamik Moore turns in a great performance as Miles again, expanding more of his character as he becomes more and more as Spider-Man and trying to become his own person and not have to follow these canon events. And the soundtrack was good. While I think the first film had a better soundtrack, I think with Across the Spider-Verse, it has a good soundtrack to stand out on its own. And like I said, it's just that ending was such a tease, but knowing the third film's coming, I would love to see how this series ends and what's going to happen next to these characters, because I feel like if this film series they have with the Spider-Verse, it perfectly works for them and not the live action stuff. I'm looking at you, Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter and El Muerto. But that's why Across the Spider-Verse is my number one film of 2023. So let me know now in the comments below, what are some of the films that you enjoyed through the year, and what did you think would have been number one? Until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
This is fun! Hello.